Okay guys, so this is my attempt to record the digital lesson. So we're using Autodesk Sketch. Make sure that you open it, click New Sketch, Create, save your current sketch if you're working on it. If not, that's fine. So what you're going to do now is you have a blank sheet of paper, essentially. On the left are all your brushes and on the right are your layers. I'm going to make sure the black color is selected, and then I am going to select the pen. Now, right now we are doing the tutorial for the color wheel. So I'm going to select the circle and create a circle to use on my screen. Okay, after I've done the circle, I'm going to select the line tool. And then I'm going to break this circle up into 12 sections because the modern color wheel consists of 12 different colors. That one's a little off. Try to get it as accurate as you can, but we're still freehanding, so it's not going to be 100% accurate, obviously. Okay, so once you have this, it's 4. Each of these quarters has to be broken into 3. So here's where you start eyeballing. You go on the line, pass right through the center, and then go to the other line. Now, the big thing is you have to make sure you're passing through the center. Okay, do this for all of them. Okay, so now I'm left with my color wheel. I'm going to grab a little bit of an eraser, make it small. Just going to clean it up. Oh shoot, always deselect the thing. I forget that every time. Okay, so I'm just going to clean this up. Make sure all my lines are nice. Okay, new layer. On this layer, I am going to select the pen. And now each of these lines is going to be labeled. So I'm going to start with red on a section. Then I count 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I label yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I label blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blue is right here. Let me just check this to make sure it's still recording. Yay! Okay. So the opposite of blue is orange. The opposite of yellow is purple. And the opposite of red is green. These are the secondary colors. Now, the other thing you have to know is red plus yellow is orange. Blue plus yellow is green. Blue plus red is purple. So that's how you can double check your work and ensure that it fits. Now, in between these are the tertiary colors, and they are kind of without names because at that point you can break things down. So what we just do is red plus orange, orange plus yellow, yellow plus green, green plus blue, blue plus purple, and then purple plus red. Now, doing this digitally makes it a lot easier. So now we are at the point where we're ready to start adding our colors. We create a new layer, and this is where you have to make sure you're following the instructions. You're going to press your finger or your pointer, whatever, onto the layer. When it looks like this and is kind of transparent, you're going to slide it all the way to the bottom. Not the very bottom. There should be one layer, this one, see, above it, but right there. This is because you want all of the black lines above it so that you can keep your labels. So for example, if this was above, if I were to take the paintbrush, I could black out stuff. But now that it's below, okay, sorry. There we go. No matter what color I use, the black will stay above it. That's one of the benefits of doing this digitally. So I'm going to select the watercolor brush because that's the medium we're using in the class, but you can select any of these brushes to work with. So if we were doing acrylic, you would select an acrylic brush, markers, drawing. Essentially the sky's the limit. But for our section, we're doing watercolor. So let's do this. Now, the cool part is, and the easier part for digital, this is actually a color wheel. So this is what they're supposed to look like. you're going to make sure that this circle is on the farthest corner. That's because we don't want any black, gray, or white interfering with the color. We want a pure color. And then for the color itself, you're trying to make sure that is dead center of that color. So this is the dead center of red. I want as red as possible. I have this selected. Now, there is the option of using the fill and filling in the section. I don't want you to do that because I want you to practice brush control. So you're going to take this. Oh, by the way, this is where you select the brush size, and this is where you select the brush opacity. I'm going to put the flow up to 100%, and then I am going to wait, and now I'm going to paint it in. So I'm trying to not go over the corners. And I'm just going to paint it in like this. Again, the main purpose of this is to teach us control. You want to learn how to control whatever mouse, stylus, brush, whatever it is you're using, because as we paint and as we start painting more complicated things, you're going to need that control. Okay, so now I look, that is pretty much all red. I'm going to take my eraser and just tidy it up a little bit. There we go. All right, so now that I have this done, select back to my paintbrush, I'm going to add another layer and then do the next one. So the next one would be orange. Actually, you know what? Let's do the primaries first. So then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go all the way down to blue, pick the most blue, and then I'm going to color that in. Oh, sorry. I'm going to color that in on its own section with its own layer. Okay, so each time you do this, you want to color in a section and use its own layer. Now I'm getting messy here, which means that I'm going to have to use the eraser tool when I'm done to fix it up, which is fine. One thing you might also want to try, just to get you using it, because we are going to use it later, is the smudge brush. So right here, this is the smudge. What I can do is use that to smooth out the layer. And it kind of gives you just a little practice doing that. And if you look, there's a little bit of difficulty. It can bring white in, so then you do have to take the eraser and clean it up. But that is another option. You can use that. That's not necessary though. All right, so that's the end of this tutorial. What you would do is start with go through the color layer, or the color wheel. Select all the different colors. You've already labeled what they are, and fill them in. When you get to the things like red and orange, so that's your orange, that's your red. You should have those done already. So then you can go in here and select a color that is in between those two colors. Again, digital is a lot easier because you can use this slider and essentially find all the colors that you need. The other thing is, if you want to go back to your original colors, you can use the eyedropper, and then as long as you hold the eyedropper over the color, it will select it for you. So if you're like, what tone of red was I using? You can do that. All right, well, I hope this helps. Ideally, you would fill out this entire thing, screenshot it or save it. And again, saving, click here, new sketch, create, save current sketch. You would click there and then upload it to the Dropbox when you're all finished. Oops.